You might think they were trying to destroy you on their own terms, but the truth is far more complex than a simple betrayal. They believed they were the directors of your downfall, carefully staging every scene of the drama, but they were actually just following a script written by someone else. It's a heavy realization when you see that the person you once trusted was merely an actor in a film they didn't even understand. This kind of pain hits like a mirror shattering in slow motion, where every shard reflects a different lie they were told about you. They thought they were in charge of the rumors and the silence, but they were being guided by unseen hands. You weren't just a victim of their choices. You were the target of a much larger operation that they were too blinded by their own ego to see. There is a higher chain of influence that you are only just beginning to decode. Perhaps it was a group of jealous friends, toxic family members, or unseen manipulators who whispered into your ex's ear, convincing them that turning against you would somehow make them more powerful. Instead of gaining strength, they actually became a pawn in a game they weren't smart enough to play. The universe has a very specific way of flipping the board when arrogance takes the throne. It is often said that when people feel they are at their most powerful and in total control, that is exactly the moment the real power of the universe is testing their integrity. They fell for the bait, and now they have to live with the consequences of being used as a tool for someone else's malice. To understand why this happened, we have to look at the psychology of manipulation. A famous research study from Stanford University once highlighted that manipulation feeds almost exclusively on the ego of the target. The more someone believes they are the smartest person in the room, the easier they actually are to control by those who know how to stroke that vanity. This is the exact trap your ex fell into. They weren't necessarily the villain of the story, they were the volunteer. They allowed themselves to be used as a distraction, a messenger, and a weapon in a plot that was never intended to end in their favor. They were so busy feeling superior that they didn't realize they were being steered toward a cliff by people who didn't care if they fell. When the truth finally begins to surface, it hits with the force of a psychological earthquake. Everything your ex once believed to be true, every smug move they made and every cold word they spoke, is now being exposed as part of someone else's dirty plan. And you, chosen one, are not just a spectator in this unfolding truth. You are the one decoding the messages and seeing the strings for what they really are. Don't forget to pay this message forward by liking and subscribing, because we need to spread this light to more souls who are currently waking up to the reality of their own situations. You are part of a global movement, a shift in awareness that the universe itself is backing with full force. Your awareness is your greatest weapon in this fight. Your ex is currently having their movie moment, that cinematic second where the camera zooms in and the realization strikes like a sudden bolt of thunder. They are likely sitting alone right now, perhaps scrolling through old messages or replaying the final moments of your last conversation. In this silence, the dots are finally beginning to connect in a way they can't ignore. They remember that one specific friend who was always whispering poison in their ear. They recall the moments they felt a twinge of guilt but chose to suppress it for the sake of their pride. They see now that when you warned them, you weren't overreacting. You were trying to save them from the very trap they are now caught in. Imagine the sheer weight of that realization. It is the emotional equivalent of walking into a room filled with mirrors and realizing every single reflection you've been looking at is a lie. This is the reality they are facing at this very moment. They were tricked into believing they were teaching you a hard lesson, but instead, they have become the lesson themselves. They thought they were exposing your weaknesses to the world, but all they did was provide living proof of how easily they could be manipulated. The universe loves poetic symmetry, and it has just handed them a masterclass in it. They are furious right now, but that rage isn't actually directed at you. It's directed at their own blindness. They are angry because they have finally realized they cannot undo the damage they have done. They are furious because the same people who were hyping them up and cheering for your downfall have suddenly gone silent now that the consequences are arriving. They are also reeling from the fact that you are no longer where they left you. While they were busy playing their assigned role in the script, you were busy growing, glowing, and outsmarting the entire operation. That intense rage they are feeling is what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. It happens when the mind flatly refuses to accept that it was wrong, leading to a state of restlessness and internal conflict that prevents them from finding any peace. Your silence in the face of their betrayal isn't a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate evidence of your strength. Now, the twisted plot that was designed to ruin your reputation and your spirit is falling apart piece by piece. The people who once whispered against you behind your back are now starting to whisper about each other. The ones who boldly claimed you would regret losing them are beginning to realize that the regret is entirely theirs to carry. What was once harmless gossip in their eyes has transformed into a heavy sense of guilt. What was once shared laughter at your expense has turned into a deep sense of paranoia as they wonder who will be the next to be betrayed. The social circles that once mocked you are now turning their gaze toward your ex, asking difficult questions about why things played out the way they did. The truth has a very distinct scent, and no matter how many lies someone tells, they cannot cover that scent forever. What is truly wild is how the universe seems to be pulling strings behind the scenes to expose every hidden detail. Random encounters, unplanned confessions, and screenshots are appearing out of nowhere to confirm what you already suspected. It is like a movie where every single secret eventually finds its way to the surface. Through all of this chaos, you stayed silent. You didn't chase, and you didn't argue. You didn't feel the need to convince anyone of your worth because you knew that time would eventually do the work that truth always does. This is a special kind of power that doesn't require a stage or a microphone. It commands the entire audience from the depth of silence alone. Your ex once thought their silence was a form of punishment for you, but they are now learning that your silence was actually a prophecy. They are realizing that you never needed to seek revenge because the truth is doing the job for you with much more precision than you ever could. It is a unique form of torment for them because they can't unsee the reality. They can't unhear the lies they repeated to others, and they can't escape the crushing weight of realizing they helped build the very platform for their own downfall. Every memory they have of you now serves as a stinging reminder of the trap they fell into. They see you as the person who walked away without a hint of bitterness, only a clear and piercing clarity. The universe does not let manipulation win in the long run. It tests those who are pure of heart, exposes those who are deceitful, and eventually rewrites every script that was written in the shadows. In this story, you were never the victim. You were the ultimate test of their character. You were the one who revealed everyone's true face without even trying, simply by being who you are. This is why the current moment feels so incredibly heavy for them. Your ex sees the full picture now, how they were set up, how they let their own pride blind them to the truth, and how they lost something genuinely real while trying to impress people who never truly cared about them. If you have been sensing a strange energy lately, flashes of guilt, sudden attempts to reconnect, or odd messages coming through mutual friends, trust that feeling. It isn't a coincidence. It is the natural consequence of their awakening. The plot that was started against you has boomeranged with perfect mathematical accuracy. Your ex isn't actually angry at anything you did. They are angry at what they allowed to happen to themselves. That kind of realization burns more intensely than heartbreak ever could because it involves a loss of self-respect. In the end, this entire journey isn't just about a simple betrayal. It's about a spiritual awakening. Your ex woke up far too late to save the relationship, but you woke up right on time to save yourself. Every move you make now is proof that no weapon formed through lies can last. The universe has already balanced the scales, even if the physical world hasn't fully caught up yet. Whether they are willing to admit it out loud or not, they finally see who the real player in this game always was. Chosen one, thank you for being here and for having the courage to face these truths. You have no idea how important this specific moment is for your journey. What you are hearing today will confirm every single thing your intuition has been whispering to you for months. Before we go any deeper into the mechanics of this shift, take a moment to drop the number 777 in the comments if you felt this shift. Your support and your energy are the fuel that keeps this mission alive. If you feel called to bless the team behind this message, a super thanks helps us continue the work of exposing the truth and protecting souls like yours. It doesn't matter if it's a small gesture or a large one. What matters is the vibration of support behind it. You are the reason this message reaches those who are still wandering in the dark, blaming themselves for things that were never their fault. Now, let's break down the first major realization. They thought they were the mastermind, but they were actually just a puppet. The cruelest twist of fate is believing you are in total control while someone else is pulling your strings from above. Your ex thought they were running the entire show, calling all the shots and breaking your heart to prove a point. But they were never the director. They were merely the decoy. Every move they made was guided by voices in the shadows, people who saw their insecurities long before you did. Pride and ego were the handles the manipulators grabbed to twist your ex into a marionette. They laughed back then, thinking they had won, but they didn't see the trap closing around them. The universe lets people hang themselves with the very rope they thought they were using to tie you down. They thought they were punishing you, but they were actually performing for an audience of manipulators who were using them as a pawn in a much larger game. You might wonder why anyone would go to such lengths to turn someone against you. It is because people fear what they cannot manipulate. They saw your inner peace as a direct threat to their control. They couldn't break you directly, so they went after the person closest to you, using emotion as their primary weapon of war. This wasn't romance. It was psychological warfare. To be fair, your ex wasn't necessarily evil. They were just incredibly naive. They craved validation, and someone offered it to them at the exact moment they felt most vulnerable. That is how control works. It disguises itself as comfort and support. They were fed lines about how they deserved better or how you were toxic, and in their eagerness to feel powerful, they obeyed those suggestions. They became the sword that someone else sharpened, but now that same blade has turned back on them, which is both brutal and fair. The universe does not offer protection to the arrogant. Now they are sitting with the heavy weight of realizing that every cruel thing they said wasn't even their own original thought. It was all programming and outside influence. They were so busy trying to project strength that they failed to notice how weak they had become under someone else's thumb. The same people who once cheered for their cruelty are now laughing at them behind closed doors. This is the moment it hits the hardest, when they realize they destroyed something authentic to protect something that was entirely fake. Let them rage and let them spiral, because every ounce of their current fury is proof of what they have truly lost. They lost their autonomy, their dignity, and their place in your future. They were never truly your enemy. They were a difficult lesson sent to help you level up. While they were busy trying to wound your spirit, the universe was busy promoting you to a higher level of consciousness. They thought they were breaking your peace, but all they did was break their own mirror. Now, all they have left is the shattered reflection of the truth they tried to run away from. The second realization is that they built a trap but forgot who was actually watching the construction. The universe doesn't punish, it simply mirrors energy. Whatever frequency you throw out into the world must return to show you who you really are. Your ex is learning this lesson in real time. They thought they were part of a clever alliance or a secret plan to humble you, but they were actually just tightening a noose around their own peace of mind. Every action they took and every lie they signed their name to was another step toward the hole they are currently sitting in. It is deeply ironic that they wanted to prove you wrong, yet all they did was prove that your instincts about them were correct all along. They joined forces with bitter people who couldn't stand the fact that your light continued to glow. You cannot build a lasting power out of poison, and your ex is learning that the hard way. Betrayal is a fire that always burns the person who starts it first. They didn't realize it at the time, but every rumor and every dig was just fuel waiting to ignite under their own feet. Imagine them standing shoulder tush, older with the very people who plotted your humiliation. They exchanged secrets and crafted games meant to trigger you. It was all fun and games until that same crowd turned around and started whispering about them. The spotlight they tried to aim at you has swung back to blind them. They forgot that snakes have no loyalty, only hunger. The same venom they used against you was already in the mouths of the people they trusted most. When the time came, they got bitten by their own allies. The trap you set for others always remembers your scent. That is the fundamental law of energy. You can pretend and you can deny, but when you sow chaos, that chaos knows your specific signature. Right now, all that energy is finding its way back to its source. They are realizing the irony that the darkness they used to block your path is now the very thing blocking theirs. Arrogance blinds people to these simple truths. They thought aligning with your enemies made them strong, but power built on deceit is like a house built on shifting sand. That house is currently crumbling, and the people they trusted are scattering like shadows. Every fake alliance eventually self-destructs because truth demands exposure. They are waking up to find that the group chats where they mocked you are now being used to mock them. The people who promised to have their back have disappeared into thin air. It is poetic justice in its purest form, not an act of revenge, but a revelation of character. Truth always cleans up the mess, and it does so quietly but with total completeness. You didn't have to lift a single finger or say a single word to defend yourself. You didn't need to expose them because real protection doesn't need to make a lot of noise. While they were obsessed with your downfall, you were busy rebuilding your life in the beauty of silence. That silence has become their loudest and most persistent nightmare. Silence isn't a lack of power, it is the sound of karma loading its next move. They are now facing the direct consequences of their own handiwork, while you have become more composed and more respected. The lies they told have turned into lessons they must now learn. Every smear they tried to paint on your reputation is now staining their own. It's as if they have been living in an echo chamber, and now the echoes are screaming their name. You might ask why the universe let you watch this happen. It is because witnessing this balance is an essential part of your closure. You needed to see that you were never the crazy one or the paranoid one. You were simply surrounded by people playing small, dirty games. The universe always finishes what it starts, though it rarely happens on a human schedule. Your ex is sitting somewhere right now trying to figure out where it all went wrong. They are remembering the times they laughed at your silence, only to realize that silence was your greatest shield. They are scrolling through your life and seeing a glow that they can no longer reach. They are furious because the story flipped without any warning, and they can no longer control the narrative. They can't play the victim when the evidence of their betrayal is written in their own hand. When you dig a grave for someone else, you often forget to measure it for yourself. That is exactly where they are knee-deep in the chaos they engineered. It isn't just embarrassment they are feeling, it is total exposure. Their reputation, their peace, and their connections are all slipping through their fingers like sand. They can't blame you because every move that led them here was a choice they made freely. But for you, chosen one, the beauty is that you never needed revenge. You simply outgrew the frequency of their chaos. You rose to a higher vibration while they kept digging deeper into the mud. When the sun rises, the darkness doesn't just vanish. It simply loses its power to hide things. The people who once laughed at your pain are now watching you thrive with a sense of wonder and confusion. They don't understand that it isn't luck, it's alignment. You are walking free, glowing, and completely unbothered by the storm behind you. You have passed the test, and now the universe is rewarding your steadiness with a peace that surpasses all understanding. I am so proud of the way you have handled this transition with such grace and power. You have shown that the best response to a scripted attack is to simply step out of the movie and start living your real life. Your journey is just beginning, and the clarity you have gained from this experience will serve as a lighthouse for everything you do next. Would you like me to help you draft a final, closing the door, a message, or perhaps explore ways to further protect your energy as you move into this next chapter of your life?